And then they give attention to context. So that's the C of PACT. So they give attention to the external context, obviously, in terms of whatever it is, clients, customers, if you're providing public services, citizens, patients and healthcare, whatever it is that is, and all the ramifications of that environment. And obviously investors and analysts and stakeholders and all those elements of the external environment. And in particular, or no, not in particular, but it is much more difficult to pay attention to that context and to be curious about and constantly exploring and reading that context if it is either very turbulent or full of criticism of what the institution or the industry of which it is a part is doing. So if the organization is in an industry where there have been difficulties, or whether perhaps there's been a particular scandal, the temptation not to read the environment is absolutely huge. Not to want to know about it, just to try and it can be a very good argument, to go back to the point about attention, for using narrow attention, simply saying we've got to just sort this, we will sort it in this way, we will reduce costs, or we will increase staff, or whatever it may be. But it is that courage actually to look and allow the environment to be part of their consideration that is a key for these effective leaders. And then they create context internally. So the link here, a link here, is with the tripod. So as we were saying before about the tripod, the tasking, trusting and tending underpin the coherence and the review and the judgment, which will continue to position the organisation well in its environment, especially if the environment, as I've said, is turbulent or indeed very critical. They will use, and the other, I'm not sure if it's the other face of that, it's not quite the right way of putting it, but the tasking, trusting and tending will also provide the shape for the internal context, in which the concern of which will be to create conditions in which people can flourish, in which costs are properly contained, in which the quality of whatever is being provided or offered is excellent, and all those aspects of the work. So the context thing is both an external awareness and an internal awareness. And while some of them may use the language of tasking, trusting and tending, if I've worked with them for a while, many of them wouldn't necessarily use that language, but that is what they are doing, both to strengthen the organisation in relation to the variety and the pressures from the environment and the opportunities in the environment, and to create conditions for flourishing internally.